Every spy trick you have ever seen in a movie, the dead drop, the double agent, the satellite photograph of a missile silo, was invented by real people, under real pressure, because two superpowers were terrified of each other and had no idea how to fight a war they could never actually start. This is the story of how the Cold War did not just reshape the world map. It built the entire architecture of modern espionage from scratch in less than 50 years. Picture the last weeks of World War II. The guns are still firing, but the smartest minds in Washington and Moscow are already thinking past the surrender. Both sides understood one thing: the nation that controlled information would control the post-war world. And the fastest way to get that information was to steal it, along with the people who produced it. As Allied forces advanced into Germany, the race was on to seize German scientists and intelligence assets. The Americans launched Operation Paperclip. More than 1,600 German scientists, engineers, and technicians were brought to the United States for government employment between 1945 and 1959. Several confirmed former members of the Nazi Party, including the SS. But the most strategically valuable acquisition was not a scientist, it was a spy master. General Reinhard Gehlen, who had run Nazi military intelligence on the Eastern Front, surrendered to American forces, offered up his files and his entire spy network in exchange for his freedom, and cut a deal to return to Germany and serve the United States. The Gehlen organization was grafted onto the fledgling CIA at its creation in 1947, and its reports comprised an estimated 70% of all U.S. intelligence on the Soviet Union in the early Cold War. The newborn CIA's window into the Soviet world was built almost entirely on a recycled Nazi spy network. The West had won the war and immediately hired the enemy's intelligence service to fight the next one. Meanwhile, the Soviets were running their own long game. Back in the 1930s, Soviet handlers were quietly prowling the lecture halls of Britain's most elite universities. The Cambridge Five, Kim Philby, Anthony Blunt, Guy Burgess, John Cairncross, and Donald Maclean were recruited at Cambridge and instructed to infiltrate British institutions while posing as staunch anti-communists. In 1940, Philby joined MI6, Burgess joined MI5, and Maclean joined the Foreign Office. They were not just inside the building, they were inside the most sensitive rooms in British intelligence, and they were Soviet agents the entire time. Their exposure severely damaged Britain's foreign policy and its special relationship with the United States. Here is the question this raises. If ideology could turn a Cambridge-educated British gentleman into a Soviet asset for decades without detection, could it happen inside the CIA itself? Think about your answer, because the rest of this story answers it. Comment your thoughts below. The Cambridge Five proved something both sides would spend the next 40 years exploiting. The most dangerous weapon in espionage is a trusted insider. No case illustrated that more brutally than Aldrich Ames. Arrested in February 1994, Ames was a 31-year CIA veteran who had been spying for the Russians since 1985, while serving as chief of the CIA's Soviet counterintelligence branch. He admitted receiving $2.5 million from Moscow. For nearly a decade, he fed the KGB some of the agency's most sensitive intelligence, compromising dozens of agents and leading to the execution of at least 10. He used dead drops, the very tradecraft the CIA had refined over 4 decades, turned against it by one of its own. Human intelligence was only half the Cold War spy revolution. The other half happened in orbit. The Corona program launched satellites to photograph the Soviet Union and China from space beginning in 1959, replacing risky U-2 overflights. For the first time, a nation could look down on its enemy from space. No agent required, no risk of capture. Then there was signals intelligence. Phone lines tapped, radio signals intercepted, embassies bugged. The Soviets hid a microphone inside a carved wooden replica of the Great Seal of the United States, a gift hanging in the U.S. ambassador's office in Moscow for years before anyone found it. What makes all of this more than history is where it points. The dead drop aims used in suburban Washington is the same concept intelligence services use today. Corona evolved into the surveillance architecture that now maps every corner of the globe in real time. The ideological recruitment tactics used on Cambridge students in the 1930s are mirrored in influence operations running across social media right now. Two superpowers locked in a standoff they could never resolve with armies invented a new kind of warfare instead. The Cold War ended. The espionage never did. If this kind of hidden history pulls you in, hit subscribe. There is far more buried beneath the surface, and thank you for watching.